Remember the sitcom desperation playbook? First comes the clip show, then a dream sequence, maybe even a little amnesia, but when the laugh track is doing CPR on a dying show, there's always one last Hail Mary. Bring in a cute kid and hope for a miracle. That last-ditch effort is called Cousin Oliver syndrome, and it's guided the path of curtain calls for more sitcoms than bad writing ever expiration date. Some were harmless and others were total sitcom kryptonite. Remember, this video was actually recommended by all of you in the comments, so keep commenting because we are listening. Also, be sure to like and subscribe because it really helps the channel. Now, let's jump in at number 9, Olivia from The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show kicked off season 6 in September of 1989 when America's favorite TV family suddenly got a little bigger. Meet Olivia Kendall, the pint-sized scene stealer who showed up at the Huxtable brownstone courtesy of Denise's surprise elopement to Navy officer Martin Kendall. The setup was classic sitcom logic.
Thank you for explaining it to me.
You're welcome, but you still didn't tell me what you do.
Olivia was born of Martin's previous marriage, and Martin, played by Joseph C. Phillips, is stationed overseas. Denise, played by Lisa Bonet, is brand new to marriage, let alone motherhood, so naturally Cliff and Claire take in their new granddaughter. And for reasons the show never quite explained, everyone decided Olivia should live with her new grandparents instead of, either set of grandparents that she'd already had. The Huxtables must have had really good snacks. Now, adding a random kid to a long-running show usually screams desperation, but here's the weird part. This one actually worked. Played by a tiny Raven Symone, Olivia wasn't your typical late-stage sitcom kid. She had fearless timing and could go toe-to-toe with Bill Cosby's Cliff Huxtable without blinking. While other child actors delivered punchlines like they'd been programmed by a robot, Olivia felt spontaneous, like she genuinely didn't know she was supposed to be intimidated by the grown-ups.
What color is he at the North Pole?
You have to ask Mrs. Santa Claus.
Well, I want to talk to Mrs. Santa Claus. Do you have her phone number?
She brought back something the show had started to lose, Cliff's dynamic with a little kid. She could match Rudy's sass, keep up at the breakfast table, and somehow made his rambling life lessons feel fresh again. The Cosby Show ran 3 more seasons with Olivia in the mix, and unlike most late edition kids, she didn't feel like a network note. She actually felt like she belonged. Today, Raven Symone credits the gig with launching her career, leading to That's So Raven and a 3-decade run in front of the camera. Not bad for a character who entered the Huxtable household simply looking for a bedtime story and a steady supply of Jell-O pudding pups. Did Olivia save the Cosby Show? No. But she didn't tank it either, which in late season kid math is basically a miracle. Number 8, plot. Number 7, Luke Brower, Growing Pains. Now we've talked about babies and young kids, but what happens when a sitcom tries to reboot its heart with a brooding teen? Growing Pains gave it a shot. The show followed the Seavers, a Long Island family led by psychiatrist dad Jason, played by Alan Thicke, and journalist mom Maggie, played by Joanna Kearns. Their kids included responsible Carol, mischievous Ben, and teen heartthrob Mike Seaver, played by Kirk Cameron. It ran from 1985 to 1992, balancing family drama with goofy humor, hair gel, and more than one episode about Mike cheating on Tess. In its final season, Growing Pains went full Hail Mary with Luke Brower, a scruffy street-smart teen in Mike's class who turns out to be homeless and winds up moving in with the Seavers. He wasn't a baby with catchphrases, but he still hit every Cousin Oliver note. Late edition, tragic backstory, and big let's shake things up before we get cancelled energy. Luke was played by none other than a young Leonardo DiCaprio, back when he was just a floppy-haired up-and-comer, not a yacht-hopping Oscar winner. But here's the twist. Leo actually crushed it. His performance was raw, grounded, and surprisingly heavy for a show that once built entire episodes around Mike trying to pass math.
I want to talk about it, George. I mean, you come here after all this time and say what's past is past. Let's jump into a truck and watch the fireflies.
But even great acting couldn't change the obvious. Luke's arrival wasn't organic, it was network panic. The show was aging out of its teen idol prime, and Kirk Cameron was looking less Tiger Beat and more youth pastor. The writers needed something, anything, to make viewers care again. Luke wasn't dropping punchlines, he was unpacking trauma in the middle of a laugh track, and while the performance earned praise, it also made the show feel like it didn't know what it wanted to be anymore. Oh, and that brooding teen with the bad haircut? Leo DiCaprio left sitcoms behind, starred in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, This Boy's Life with Robert De Niro, Inception, and a little movie called Titanic. Ever hear of it? He also launched an environmental foundation and became one of the most bankable actors on the planet. Just a small little glow up. Now Luke didn't save Growing Pains, but Leo? He's doing just fine. Number 6, Sam McKinney, Diff'rent Strokes. Diff'rent Strokes was the show that asked, what if a wealthy white guy adopted 2 black kids from Harlem and America loved it? Well, surprisingly, we did for 8 seasons. From 1978 to 1986, we followed Arnold and Willis Jackson adjusting to penthouse life with Philip Drummond, a man who took his housekeeper's dying wish way more seriously than most bosses would.
What you talking about, Willis?
But by season 6, the magic was evaporating. Kimberly had been shipped off to Paris, Willis was barely around, and Arnold, well, he wasn't so little anymore. Gary Coleman was growing up, and with him went that signature pint-sized charm. The cuteness meter was dangerously low, and in sitcom land, that's a 5-alarm fire. Enter the emergency backup plan, Sam McKinney, played by Danny Cooksey, a freckled little wisecracker with a southern drawl, red hair, and a punchline quota to fill. His mom, Maggie, married Mr. Drummond, and suddenly the family had a new kid who was cuter, younger, and came with a pre-installed laugh track.
Arnold, you're not a very nice person. Keep your money. I quit.
The problem wasn't Danny Cooksey. The kid had charm and timing. The real problem? The show was already running on fumes. The writers clearly thought they could bottle the same magic twice, but lightning rarely strikes the same luxury apartment twice. Audiences weren't fooled. The show limped through 2 more awkward seasons before the network pulled the plug in 1986. Sam didn't kill Diff'rent Strokes, but he was the adorable red flag that the end was near. Danny Cooksey bounced back just fine though, becoming a voice acting staple with Montana Max in Tiny Toon Adventures and Jack Spicer in Shaolin Showdown. He also fronted multiple bands because apparently surviving a late stage sitcom role unlocks a bonus level in life. Alright, we're about halfway through the countdown, so now it's your turn. Drop a comment and tell us which of these late arrival characters you actually remember showing up, and hey, if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe before another surprise kid shows up in your favorite show and starts calling everyone uncle. Number 5, Billy, Who's the Boss? By 1992, Who's the Boss was trying to answer a different question. How do we keep this show going when all the original storylines are cooked? Let's rewind. Who's the Boss ran for 8 seasons on ABC and was one of the defining sitcoms of the late 80s. The show followed Tony Michelli, a retired baseball player turned housekeeper played by Tony Danza. He moves from Brooklyn to Connecticut with his daughter Samantha, played by Alyssa Milano, to work for Angela Bauer, played by Judith Light, a high-powered ad exec. Also in the mix was Angela's quirky mom Mona, played to perfection by Katherine Hellman, and her son Jonathan, played by Danny Pintaro. It was a workplace sitcom, a romantic slow burn, and a family comedy all rolled into one. And for most of its run, it worked thanks to strong chemistry, likable characters, and just the right balance of sincerity and slapstick. But by season 8, things were starting to feel stale. So what did the writers do? That's right, time to add a kid. Enter Billy, Tony's young cousin from Brooklyn, played by 5-year-old Jonathan Halyalker.
Billy, what are you doing?
I'm making a cake. Just like you, Tony.
His backstory? Classic sitcom logic. His parents split up, his grandmother gets sick, and he needs a place to stay. Well, Tony steps in as the grandmother's responsible former neighbor, and yep, you heard that correctly. It's the early 90s. What did you expect? Of course, if you've been following Remember When for a while, you know we talked about Billy in a previous episode about disappearing characters. If not, check that video out after this one for even more nostalgia. Alright, now back to Billy. Billy actually wasn't a bad addition. Halyalker had that natural kid charm that casting directors dream about, and his Brooklyn accent paired nicely with Tony's. Plus, he had the kind of TV-ready bowl cut that screamed early 90s network note. But his arrival checked every Cousin Oliver box. Late series character, high cute factor, unnecessary to the plot, and a giant neon sign that said, "We don't know what else to do." To be fair, the show was already on its way out anyway. The Tony and Angela romance had been dragged out longer than any will they won't they should. Samantha was married, Jonathan had stopped being precocious, and Mona was still a queen, but Even she couldn't hold the plot together on her own. Billy didn't ruin Who's the Boss, but he definitely showed up to help roll the credits, just in time for cancellation. Number 4, Ricky Stevens, The Partridge Family. The Partridge Family, which aired from 1970 to 1974, gave us the groovy musical misadventures of a widowed mom and her 5 kids spreading love, harmonies, and aggressively catchy earworms from a psychedelic school bus. It was basically the Brady Bunch with a tambourine, and for a while, America couldn't get enough. But by season 4, the wheels were coming off the bus. The show had been moved to Saturday nights opposite All in the Family and Emergency, and the ratings tanked hard. Time for the classic sitcom Hail Mary. Add a cute kid and hope for a miracle. Here comes Ricky Stevens, the 4-year-old neighbor who just happened to love singing, smiling, and stealing entire episodes from the actual Partridge kids.
Sooner or later, you realize for yourself you can do it.
That was, anyway, played by real-life cherub Ricky Seagal, he appeared in 10 episodes and even landed a record deal. Ricky Seagal and the Seagals hit shelves in 1973 and quietly slid into discount bins everywhere. He was supposed to bring fresh energy. Instead, he turned the tour bus into a slow-motion crash. Critics were brutal. One reportedly called him a festering harbinger of a Partridge apocalypse. Yikes. The kid's 4 years old. The show was canceled at the end of the season, and Ricky Stevens was immortalized as one of TV's most awkward late-game additions. To his credit, Ricky Seagal kept working. He did voice work on Richie Rich and Shirt Tales, and somehow ended up co-hosting the 1974 American Music Awards alongside Donny Osmond, Michael Jackson, and Rodney Allen Rippey. That is a lineup for the history books. Ricky Seagal didn't kill the Partridge Family, but he was definitely there for the final chorus. Number 3, 3J, Family Matters. Family Matters started as a wholesome spin-off about the Winslow family navigating life in Chicago, but thanks to Steve Urkel's surprise breakout, it quickly morphed into The Urkel Show, suspenders, snorts, and all, and we've covered that previously on many videos. By season 8, even Urkel's antics needed backup. Enter 3J, short for Jerry Jamal Jameson, a smart, streetwise kid introduced as Urkel's little brother in a mentorship program. This wasn't a one-off episode. 3J had a full backstory, bounced through foster homes, abandoned by his mother, and eventually hiding in the Winslow's attic. Naturally, Carl and Harriet decide to adopt him.
And I got you the red one, because I know it's your favorite color, Dad.
Thank you, son.
Played by Orlando Brown, 3J brought charisma and energy to the role. While he wasn't a baby with catchphrases, he definitely qualified for Cousin Oliver syndrome. Added late to boost the aw factor and shake up a series that had gone full mad scientist with Urkel's teleporters and clone machines. 3J didn't save Family Matters, but he gave it heartfelt moments on its way out. The show wrapped in season 9 with 3J firmly part of the extended sitcom family tree. Orlando Brown stayed in the game, appearing on The Jamie Foxx Show, voicing characters in Wayne Head and Fillmore, and most famously stealing scenes as Eddie on That's So Raven. In recent years, he's opened up about personal struggles while working on recovery, and we're wishing him the very best. Number 2, 7, Married with Children. Look, we know we talked about 7 in a previous video also, but when you're making a list of sitcom kids who were supposed to save shows and did the opposite, how do you not include him? If Cousin Oliver syndrome had a mascot, it would be this kid. In season 7, Married with Children was starting to feel worn, let's say. The network wanted to soften things up, so they tried to make Al nicer and ordered up a 6-year-old, because nothing says fresh start like a random child dropped off by hillbilly relatives. Enter 7, the son of Peggy's cousins, who were played for maximum chaos by Bobcat Goldthwait and Linda Blair, who I was really expecting having her head to spin again, but I didn't have any luck. Anyway, they dump 7 on the Bundys and disappear, leaving Al to suffer louder than usual. Played by Shane Sweet, 7 was supposed to bring new life to the show.
I love you, you big lug. Give me money.
Instead, he felt like a misplaced character from a canceled TGIF lineup. He didn't fit the tone, the family, or the fans' patience. And just like that, he was gone. No goodbye, no big exit episode, just quietly erased from existence. He pops up in season 8 on a milk carton labeled missing. That's how committed the writers were to pretending he never happened. Ironically, dropping 7 might have actually saved the show. Once the writers gave up on cute kid course correction and let the Bundys go back to being terrible people, Married with Children found its rhythm again. It ran for 4 more seasons without the kid. Shane Sweet actually did just fine though. He starred in Nickelodeon's The Journey of Alan Strange, popped up on Figure It Out, and even voiced Robin in the DC animated universe. Not bad for someone who got deleted from sitcom continuity mid-season. So no, Seven didn't save the show, but leaving him behind? That just might have done the trick. Number 1, Cousin Oliver, The Brady Bunch. And here we are, the kid who started it all, Cousin Oliver, the name that launched 1,000 desperate casting decisions. The Brady Bunch, which ran from 1969 to 1974 and followed the cheerful chaos of a blended family with 6 kids, 2 parents, 1 housekeeper, and 0 privacy. It was wholesome, structured, and powered by matching outfits and moral lessons that wrapped up in under 30 minutes. Cousin Oliver showed up in the final 6 episodes of the Brady Bunch's 5th and final season to, and I'm doing air quotes here, add new life to a show everyone knew was gasping for air. It was 1974, the Brady kids weren't little anymore, the charm was fading, and the producers decided the only salvation was another kid. His backstory? Vaguely explained. He was Carol's nephew. How exactly? Nobody knows. His parents ditched him to go dig up ruins in South America, which is totally normal. Played by Robbie Rist, Oliver was upbeat, accident-prone, and aggressively wholesome, like handing out juice boxes at a biker bar wholesome.
Would you guys be a little bit more quiet? Dad can't get any sleep around here.
So what was the problem with Cousin Oliver? Well, everyone could smell the desperation. The Brady Bunch wasn't evolving, it was backpedaling. The show was canceled after his brief stint and TV history was made. From that point on, any awkward late season addition designed to boost ratings got slapped with the label Cousin Oliver syndrome. Despite the punchline reputation, Robbie Rist bounced back just fine. He kept working steadily with roles on The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Grady, Galactica 1980, and voice work for Doc McStuffins, Balto, and Naruto. If Michelangelo was your favorite Ninja Turtle in the 90s live-action movies, well, that was Cousin Oliver. Turns out Cousin Oliver might have helped sink the Brady Bunch, but Robbie Rist is still standing and making noise. Literally. So there you have it, 9 characters who failed to save fading for the wrong reasons. We remember these characters precisely because they were so obviously desperate attempts by the networks to keep their cash cows going. Did we miss a painfully obvious Cousin Oliver? Drop it in the comments and let us know below, and if you want more retro TV breakdowns, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.